We're going to make the Snail Cam parametrically, so new, standard IPT. Again, we want to start off with manage, parameters, and we're going to add our diameter D, which is 1. We're going to add our hole, tab twice and type 3/16, and we're going to add our thickness, which is 3 divided by 16, and I hit off of that before I got that number set, so I got to go back up and type 3 divided by 16 So those are all my dimensions. Done. Start a new sketch. I'm going to pick the XY plane. First circle is going to be the hole, and again I'll just type in the word hole using my functions. And next thing I'm going to put a line in there. I want to make sure this line right here has all of its dimensions next. So I know that from the center point to the end point of that line is 1/4 D. So that's D divided by 4. It's the quickest way of doing it. And then all the way up to the top here is D divided by 2, or 1/2 D. You can decide whether you want to force your students to use exact formulas or do variation thereof. Next thing I'm going to do is make a half circle. And how I do it, I start off with a whole circle. I'm going to dimension it. And in this case, I want to dimension it with radius, because with the radius it's supposed to be D divided by 2, or half of D. So that gets me started. Now, why did I draw that line? Well, see, I want to go from here to here, and I'm going to go a little farther beyond it. And what I'm going to do is keep the right half of the circle, and if you look back at the actual drawing for that one, you will be able to see that that's part of the cam. So what I'm going to do with that line is going to allow me to use the trim tool. See, I can get rid of that part. And since it failed, trying to remove the constraint on the curve to be trimmed, to try it again. And if you hit those, sometimes it'll give you some information. But in this case, it's because the way it's dimensioned. See, it's not liking that, letting me do that, because it's saying I have some dimensions on there. So let me hit escape and see if it'll let me do it if I get rid of some dimensions. And this will happen to you from time to time. And let's see if the trim tool will work now. See, it worked. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to have to go back and put in those dimensions. So let's make sure that we hit escape, and to get out of the trim tool, hit D for dimension. And remember, we wanted this parametrically. So I can leave it like that, or I can go back to manage. And this is going to happen to your students sometimes. Now my dimensions are off. So hole is D0, but that one I want to be D2 because D1, because I like to keep mine in order. So, and then I wanted that to be D divided by 2. So there we go. So we have that part. Remember, I had some other things I had to dimension, and I need to get rid of that line because I don't need it anymore. So I had some dimensions on that line. So, and what you'll note as I'm putting these dimensions in, that they're correct. I didn't change them, but they're not parametric anymore. So I have to go back and type them in either as on the fly like I did there, or like in the manage tab afterwards, or during, depending on which you want to do. And this one is fully constrained because I tied it right to that, and it's telling me that this dimension is really not needed because I have everything set up, because that's the end point of that half circle. So you can either leave that, or you can just go ahead and delete it. But it is fully constrained, so it won't be any problem. The next thing I want to do is I want to go to Sketch, and I'm going to do a 3-point arc, and I want to go from here down to here, And I'm going to pull out till it barely gets, I see the tangent pop up. Boom, it popped up. If it did not pop up, you would hit this. You say, I want this one tangent with this circle. And if you get this, it says it already exists. It's not an error. It's just reminding you why you waste on your time because you're just doing something that's already been done. And then it's a matter of extruding, picking the profile as always, and we said that we're going to use thickness, and I'm going to go ahead and use my parameter list and pick thickness. And click OK. Whoops, I'd already started typing thickness. So parameter list, thickness, OK, and now you've made the snail cam.